Hey, it's Alex. In this video, I'm going to show you why your inventory accuracy is probably between 70 and 85%, which means 1 out of every 5 to 6 items in your system doesn't match reality, and exactly how to fix it without spending a fortune on software or consult. By the end of this video, you'll understand the 3 main reasons inventory becomes inaccurate, how to implement a simple measurement system that takes less than 30 minutes a day, and which technology investments actually pay for themselves versus the ones that just waste money. What this means for your business is that you'll stop losing sales because you think you're running out of stock when you're not. Stop tying up cash in inventory you don't actually need, and finally be able to make purchasing decisions based on real data instead of guesses. Here's what nobody tells you. Inventory inaccuracy doesn't just cause stockouts, it's destroying your business in 3 ways you probably haven't even noticed. The first is phantom inventory. Your system says you have 20 units, you actually have 12. A customer orders 15. You can't fulfill it. That's a lost sale, a disappointed customer, and potentially a lost customer for life. Multiply that across your entire catalog and you're leaving serious money on the table. That's working capital that could have been reinvested in growth, sitting on a shelf, collecting dust. Third is poor decision making. When your inventory data is wrong, every decision you make is based on bad information. Your forecasting is off, your purchasing is off, your pricing might even be off because you don't know your true carrying costs. I've seen businesses lose 15 to 25% of their potential profit purely due to inventory inaccuracy. That's not an exaggeration. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars for businesses doing 2 million in revenue. The crazy part is that most business owners don't even know that they have this problem. They just accept that inventory is always a bit off. But that acceptance is costing them a fortune. So there are 3 main reasons your inventory becomes inaccurate, and understanding them is the first step in fixing the problem. The first reason is receiving errors. Products come in, someone's supposed to count them and log them, but they're busy, or they miscount, or they enter the wrong SKU. Now your system is wrong from the very beginning. These errors compound over time. The second reason is transaction errors. Someone picks an item from an order but doesn't scan it, or they scan the wrong item, or they return something to the wrong location. Every transaction is an opportunity for error. And if you're processing hundreds or thousands of transactions per week, the errors add up fast. The third reason is shrinkage, theft, damage, or loss. Inventory leaves your building without being recorded. Could be employee theft, it could be damaged goods that got tossed without documentation, it could be product that walked out through the door. If you're not actively tracking this, it's silently eating your inventory accuracy. The traditional solution is to do a full physical inventory count once or twice a year. Count everything, adjust your system, start fresh, but here's the problem. Errors start accumulating again immediately. By the time you do your next count, you're back to where you started. That's like only going to the dentist when you have a massive cavity instead of brushing your teeth daily. It's reactive instead of proactive, and it doesn't solve the underlying issues. So here's the framework that took us from 73% accuracy to 98% in 30 days. The first step is to measure your baseline. You need to know where you are before you can improve. Do a spot check on 50 to 100 random items. Compare what's physically on your shelf to what your system says. Calculate the accuracy percentage. Most businesses are shocked when they actually measure this. Step 2 is to implement cycle counting. Instead of counting everything once a year, count a small portion every single day. Focus on your high value, high turnover items first. These are your A items, the 20% of SKUs that represent 80% of your value. Count those weekly, your B items monthly, and your C items quarterly. This continuous counting approach catches errors while they are small and identifies patterns. You'll start to see where errors are happening in receiving, picking, specific employees, specific products, and you can fix the root causes. Step 3 is to track transactions religiously. Every item that moves needs to be scanned or recorded. No exceptions. This is where most businesses fail. They have the technology, but people bypass it because it's faster or easier just to grab the item. Those shortcuts are killing your accuracy. Step 4 is to investigate discrepancies immediately. When you find a discrepancy during a cycle counting, don't just adjust the number and move on. Figure out why it happened. Was it a receiving error, a picking error? Was it theft? Fix the root cause, not just the symptom. The key insight here is the 90-10 rule. 90% of your inventory errors come from 10% of your processes or products. Find that 10% and fix it, and you'll see massive improvements. Now, before I go to the technology piece, I want to make sure that you're actually able to implement this into your business. So I've created an inventory accuracy calculator that walks you through measuring your current accuracy and calculating exactly what it's costing you in lost sales, excess inventory, and poor decisions. You input your inventory value, your current accuracy estimate, and your revenue. And it shows you the dollar impact of improving your accuracy. It also helps you build a cycle counting schedule based on your specific inventory. Go to the description right now and check out the calculator. It takes 5 minutes to complete. The insights will be eye-opening. Go through it, then come back and I'll show you the technology and process improvements that seal the deal. Let's talk about technology. Here's the truth. Technology doesn't fix bad processes. It's just faster. If your receiving process is broken, adding barcode scanners is not going to fix it. You'll just have broken data entered faster. Fix the process first, then add technology to support it. That said, there are 3 technology investments that actually pay for themselves. The first is barcode scanners. This should be your first technology purchase. Scanning eliminates 90% of data entry errors. They're cheap, $100 to $300 per unit, and the ROI is immediate. The second investment is inventory management software. Move off spreadsheets. You need a system that tracks transactions in real time, alerts you to discrepancies, and makes cycle counting easier. Even basic systems are fine to start. Don't overthink this. The third investment is integration with your sales channels. Your inventory system should automatically update when you make a sale. Manual updates are where errors happen, and this integration is critical for accuracy. What you don't need initially is RFID tags, warehouse management systems, and robotic picking. These are for high volume operations. For most businesses, the basics done well will get you 9% accuracy or higher. The process improvements are just as important as technology. Train your team on why accuracy matters. Create standard operating procedures for receiving, picking, and returns. Make accuracy part of your culture, not just a task. One simple change we made was that we stopped measuring employees on speed and started measuring them on accuracy. Picking speed went down slightly, but errors dropped by 70%. The net result was fewer returns, fewer reships, and happier customers. So let me share the results from a customer that we worked with. They started with a 73% inventory accuracy. That means 27% of their inventory records were completely wrong. They were experiencing stockouts on items they actually had and had dead stock on items the system said were low. The first week was that we measured the baseline and implemented daily cycle counting on the A items. Accuracy went to 78% just from catching and correcting obvious errors. The second week is that we implemented mandatory scanning for all transactions and trained the team on the new process. Accuracy jumped to 85%. In the third week, we started investigating discrepancies to find root causes. We discovered that the receiving process had major issues. We fixed them accuracy hit 92%. And in the fourth and final week, we expanded cycle counting to the items and tightened the return process. We hit 98% accuracy and have maintained it since. We reduced stockouts by 80%, which directly increased sales. We reduced excess inventory by 30%, which freed up over 100 grand in working capital. And we reduced emergency orders and expedited shipping, saving about $15,000 per quarter. So the total first year impact, over $340,000. And the ongoing benefit is that the customers are now able to make decisions based on accurate data. So here's your action plan to improve your inventory accuracy starting this week. The first is to go through the calculator from the description and measure your current accuracy. You need to know what your baseline is. The second step is to identify your A items, your top 20% by value. Start cycle counting those items this week. Count 10 to 20 items per day. The third step is to make scanning or recording mandatory for every transaction. There's no exceptions. This is not a negotiable. Step number 4 is when you find discrepancies, investigate and fix the root cause. Track patterns so you can address systematic issues. Inventory accuracy is one of the highest leverage improvements you can make in your business. Better accuracy means more sales, less cash tied up in inventory, and better decision making across the board. The difference between 75% accuracy and 98% accuracy is hundreds of thousands of dollars each year for most businesses. That's money that goes straight to your bottom line. So drop a comment, tell me your current inventory accuracy or your biggest inventory challenge. I do read every comment and I'll make sure that I reply. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.